This is the Grow Your Clinic podcast from Clinic Mastery. We help progressive health professionals to lead inspired teams, transform client experiences, and build clinics for good. Now, it's time to grow your clinic.
Welcome to another episode of the Grow Your Clinic podcast. My name is Jack O'Brien. Thank you for joining us with your attention today. Really glad to have you with us wherever you're listening. Might be in the car, at the gym, going for a walk, and at the time of recording, it is the middle of July, and so our thoughts are with those who are battling through coronavirus, wherever you might be in your part of Australia or the world. It's a different season for all of us, so we absolutely are here in solidarity and also in practicality. Need anything at all, just reach out. We're more than happy to help. Today, we have another guest joining us, and I'm excited to put the spotlight back on another clinic owner. This gentleman has been a valued member of our community for a long time now, and I've been blown away by his story. So super excited to welcome Hasan Al-Talib to the Grow Your Clinic podcast. How are you, Hus?
I'm good, mate. How are you, Jack?
I am very, very well. So for those who aren't familiar, Hasan is the founder, the head honcho of Complete Care Physio and Osteopathy down in Melbourne. Before we get into your story as a physio, clinic owner, and the remarkable story of your clinic, I got a couple of icebreaker questions. Are you ready?
I'm born ready, mate.
All right, here we go. So number one, what are you reading or learning right now?
So I'm reading a book by Simon Sinek. It's called Start With Why. And I'm learning that people, they don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So our vision, obviously, as I now suggest, it is complete care. So we aim to have or bring the complete care back into healthcare. And we hope to achieve that, obviously, through the mantra of CM, which is leading inspired teams, transforming client experiences, and hopefully building a clinic for good. So that's our aim.
Oh, I love it, mate. You, when you speak in Simon Sinek, you speak in my language. So that's
I love it, mate. I love it.
All right, number two, who inspires you?
Look, I'd say my answer is a bit cliche. My wife, my kids, and my parents inspire me to become the best husband, father, son I can be to them. And as well, my work family, my complete care family, inspire me to be the best leader I can be for them.
That's awesome. I love it. How many kids have you got?
I have two kids, two girls. They are 9 and 6.
So good. Love it.
Yeah, they keep you busy.
And what a joy that you get the business owner journey and the freedom to be able to spend a bit of time with them, yeah?
100%. It's been life-changing.
So good, mate. All right, number three, what did you want to be growing up?
So, look, I come from a family of academics. So my dad's a doctor, my uncle's and aunties, all doctors. So naturally, I was meant to head down that pathway. I'd say though about halfway through year 12, I thought, you know what, my marks aren't going to be that high for it. So after a long journey, which I will share with the listeners today, I ended up being a physio. And I haven't looked back.
Great. I love it. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, how sort of medical families tend to breed medical families, but
exactly, it's incredible.
Sort of broken the mold, but only just. You're on the fringes.
Starting my own trend.
Yeah, I love it. What's a motto that you live by, Hasan?
Look, I believe in everything happens for a reason, even if it's a bad thing at that particular time. Things happen for a reason, and as I'll explain in my story, things pretty much happen for a reason.
Well, let's do that right now. So connect the dots for us from the medical family background through to physio and our clinic ownership. Fill in the spaces.
Yeah, look, like I said before, I come from a doctor family, so naturally those went to be my path. And I realised, you know what, I'm not going to get the high year 12 scores as I wanted. So I asked my dad, well, what can I be? Because I just want to be in health still. And he said, how about a physiotherapist? So I thought, well, what's that? So I was lucky. I contacted the hospital because I thought, physios only work in hospitals at that time. And I was lucky enough to spend a few days there. And I thought, you know what, I'd probably do this. So in year 12, it came around, and I think at the time I was in year 12, year 12 scores to enter physio was around 96, 97, and I got nowhere near that. So I thought, okay, well, I still want to be a physio. So what I did was I entered for a science degree, and I did a year of that. I smashed that year, absolutely aced it. I applied to transfer into physio. I missed out on an early round offer by 0.02 offer mark. I'm like, oh, come on, this cannot happen. So I basically had to wait around 5 weeks until the official round one came around, and I got that special phone call on that day, and it was the best day of my life at that time. So and I was ecstatic to make it in, and I was enjoying it up until probably placements were pretty much in hospitals. And I thought, this is my path, it was going to be hospital physio. But then as I got more and more into it, I thought, you know what, I'm not actually enjoying this. And I became quite discontent with the physiotherapy. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to try my hand at medicine.
Right, okay.
So, at the end of my degree, I attempted an exam called the GAMSAT, which is a long exam, literally from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. And you have to prepare for it like you've never prepared anything in your life. So, long story short, I sat the exam a few times over a number of years. I was interviewed twice over 2 consecutive years, and I was pretty certain in my last interview that that's it. I'm in. I got it. I smashed it. I aced it, and I missed out. I thought, what's going on?
Right.
Why is that? But again, everything happens for a reason, right? So at that time, though, business was sort of slowly taking off. I thought, well, you know what? I think this is my journey.
So you were starting to work as a physio now?
Yeah. So basically, at that time, as I was obviously studying for the GAMSAT, I was working as a physio. I was working part-time as an employee and part-time just renting a room at a medical center while studying for this exam. So plus at those times, I had a newborn. So it was the busiest year of my life, or 2 years of my life. So long story short, I wasn't accepted into medicine, and business was slowly taking off. And I am where I am today through hard work. I'd say I have to thank, obviously, my parents and my wife for just, pushing me into this, saying, hey, listen, it's just not meant to be. Try and knuckle down on this business journey. Like enough I did. And and I'm where I am today.
That's awesome, mate. So from doing your own thing a couple of days a week in a medical center to now having substantial team and your own standalone facilities, what was the shift for you to go, I'm going to build this business and give it my heart and soul, and I want to employ and have my own clinic? Like, what was the trigger to make you want to grow that?
Look, basically, I just wanted to become my own boss. I mean, I know at the time I was working for another person as well in the clinic, but I'm like, you know what? I can't take orders from anyone anymore. I wanted to manage my own thing. So my 2 days working part-time in a medical center became 3, which then became 4, which became 5, which became 6, working for myself. I'm like, you know what? I think now it's time that I hire someone, which I did. I hired my first employee back in 2015, I think it was, and it was great. But I pretty much did what most new business owners do. I saw my patients, and any overflow was left onto my employees. So I wasn't mentoring them. I wasn't spending much time with them, and that had its own dramas.
This is why you're still in the medical center, right?
Yeah.
You brushed over it quickly. I just want to pull on that thread a little bit. Going from 2 days to 6 days and then hiring someone is no mean feat. Arguably, Hasan, as you would know, that's some of the hardest growth. You're going from 2 to 6, essentially tripled, and hiring a team member goes from 1 to 2. It's doubling. What were some things that you did really well in and through that early growth season?
Look, at the start, because it was a medical center, I did have a lot of referrals from the local doctors there. and a lot of word of mouth. So basically, it was all organic growth. I didn't do any marketing, didn't have a website, and at the same time as well, it was a growing town where I was working. So things just picked up pretty quickly.
And it happened fairly organically.
Yeah.
And where to from there? So once you hire someone and think about, well, we're maxing out this room, how did you go to facilities, more team? What was the jump that you had to make?
As the business was growing, I thought, you know what, I do need more space. And I only had one room in the medical center. So I was looking around in my local area for a commercial property. And lucky enough, as I was looking, one popped up. And again, things happen for a reason, right? It just popped up out of nowhere. I thought, right, this is meant to be. I think this is mine. So, after negotiations, I bought it. I got it. Sweet. And then life took a turn, and I lost my employees at the time. So I became a solo practitioner again in a whole new premises with big overheads. My stress levels were through the roof. So that had its own challenges.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at a bit of a crisis point. Can I just fast forward and paint us a picture of Complete Care Physio and Osteo now? What does life look like now for you? What have you patients help, team members, your working week? What does your clinic look like now?
Well, if we fast forward 3 years now, we have pretty much expanded just myself to a team of now 6 physios and 2 osteos across 2 locations in the space of 3 years. So I think 3 or 4 years around that. So things have turned out not too bad.
And I'm interested, what's an average week in the life of Hasan, head honcho, look like? Are you seeing patients? You've got some time with the family. What does that look like?
So I do probably consult a few hours a week, around probably 12 hours a week, because I like meeting with them, with my clients. The other time really is spending with my kids and also working on the business, which I think is the most important thing, because I'm spending way too much time with minutes and not on it.
So that's a good point. Your leadership growth that I've been privileged to watch alongside over the last couple of years is phenomenal, and I know how much you believe in your team. So, what have you done to be able to build and grow and nurture this team and culture that you've got now?
So I say the shift came a few years back as I started working with you guys. It was a real mindset shift, because at the start I was always about just my clients, and not my team. But that mindset shift was really important, Jack, where my aim as a business owner, my aim as the leader was to place focus and attention and empowering my team. And my team will look after their clients, the clients look after business, and business will then look after myself. So that was the absolute game changer for me.
So how do you look after your team? What does that look like practically? What are some of the things you do, maybe as a group, individually? What are you thinking about when you say look after your team?
So basically trying to empower them to reach their goals. So I've been meeting with them once a week, once a couple of weeks. We have regular team meetings. We do regular desire statements once a quarter or so, just to try and see how I myself as a leader can help them, not only clinically, but also outside of work, just help them achieve their life goals as well.
If I'm to press on that, I'm thinking about the listener who says, that's great for you boys, but in my clinic, my team would never open up to me, or my team would never share their desire statement with me. My team would never share their personal goals with me. We keep it strictly business. What would you say to that clinic owner?
Look, you need to be open with your team. You need to actually invest in them, actually block time in your diary and in theirs. It's the only way you're going to get somewhere. Because at the start, honestly, I was like that. I'm like, you know what? My team never affected me. After all, I'm their boss. But you need to be their mentor, not only business mentor or a clinical mentor, but you need to be their life mentor. You need to be their mate as well. Again, like I said, help them achieve any goal in life, if it's a house, if it's holiday, whichever. So that's where then, I became that kind of a leader.
That's awesome, mate. I'm super proud for you. What about through times of adversity? Yeah, like we've just been through what may be one of the toughest challenges for us as business owners,
Definitely.
maybe in our careers. How have you navigated adversity as a leader?
So we have regular team meetings, like I mentioned before, and again, it's about just being honest with them, being vulnerable with them as well. And for example, in the first wave of COVID-19, we all sat down and we had a meeting and said, "Look, who's in with me here?" Because it's easier if we all struggle a bit than any one of us struggles a lot. And everyone's like, "Mate, this is perfect. This is a team. This is a family. So we need to all stick together to try and make it through to the other side." And I'm lucky enough that my team are all on board in that way.
What about your shift? Like you said, initially, for a long period of time, your focus was on your clients. You were probably the busiest. You were billing the most. You're Ripper Physio.
Definitely.
And now that's shifted. Now you kind of pick and choose your hours that you work, the patients that you see.
Yep.
How have your team perceived that? Because I know a lot of clinic owners are really fearful of what will people say. How's that been accepted by your team?
Well, and again, I was just open and honest with my team. I said, "Look, this is the steps I'm taking. It's not for me to step back and go on holidays, but it's more to actually spend time helping them achieve their goals."
Right.
So it's all about what your intentions are, because it's not going to work if I cut back and go on holidays and the business run. I can't see it working. But if you take that time out off your diary, not consulting, and you invest that time in your team, your business will grow.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think a lot of clinic owners just struggle to, they might have that lip service, but struggle to internalize it and really believe it and commit to it. So what have been some of the keys to that growth? Like, to hire 6, 7, 8 new team members over the course of 3 years means significant growth. How have you been able to attract new clients to your clinic?
Look, I'd say through working with my coach, Michael Risk. He's been an absolute legend in my journey thus far. So Michael's been emphasis at the start of my journey with the CM team was to just try and work on my culture, because it was quite lacking. And as we improved our clinic culture significantly, things that they just rolled on. My team were just more likely to stick up with the new business systems.
Right. Okay.
I mean, it's all good, have a new system in place, but if no one's on board, it's just not going to work. So that work with Michael to try and improve my clinic culture has actually led to new practitioners wanting to come work for us, which I never thought would be possible at all.
That's phenomenal. So what you're saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, is you spending the time with them, with a coach and a mentor to work on your culture has meant that marketing is easier, systems is easier, and recruiting is easier, in your words, right?
Everything just fell into place.
That's phenomenal. What are some of the things that you would change or do differently if you had your time over again?
Look, I would have probably started with CPM much earlier. I probably would not have, struggled as much a few years back. That's probably the only thing I would have tried to work on my culture much earlier, because I was way too focused on patient numbers and looking after them, not enough on my team and my kind of culture.
And, listeners, I don't want this to be self-indulgent or CM focused. This is about Hasan and Complete Care. But for you to say you wish you'd worked on your business earlier, what mistakes would you have avoided, or what would that accelerated growth have meant for you?
Yeah, I'd say just not spending too much time. Again, it's easier said than done, right? But just not working in the business too much, actually blocking time out in your diary. I know as a business owner, you're going to be busy and booked out and everyone wants you, but you need to actually and physically block time out in your diary and spend time and connect with your team members. That's the only way you're going to help your business grow.
I 100% echo that and agree with that. So what are you working on right now? What are you headed towards? Is it more personal freedom, more team members, more locations?
Look, I say at the moment it's just working with my team a bit more, just trying to help them achieve their goals. So I know a team member of mine wants to buy her first house, so I'm helping her with that. I've got another person who wants to take on a particular niche, so I'm helping with that. So just trying to help the team achieve their goals, like I said before. I sound like a broken record here, but I'm just extremely passionate about it, Jack.
Yeah.
So,
and it's not just lip service, yeah. Like I know that some of your team have got their Instagram profiles and starting to build that niche. And you know, when you look at your clinic, you do spend the majority of your time building and mentoring your team, and
as a team, correct, yeah.
And it's built incredible outcomes for your clinic to impact your community, for you to be able to do the things with your family that you love. It's phenomenal. And I think you're such a humble dude, and you got such insight. So if you were to sit with some clinic owners that are listening along, so I'm thinking a couple of different clinic owners, the solo, the early stage clinic owner who's got some rapid growth but is a bit of a bottleneck. What would you say to that clinic owner? And then maybe the one that's been doing it for 10 years, has got a bit of a team but is frustrated with culture. Can you speak to the early one and the frustrated one?
The early one, if you can try and invest in some business coaching, I'd say that's step one, because this has been an absolute life changer. The one who has a team already but isn't quite too functional, I'll say, you know what, invest in your team. Block out time in your diary, block out time in their diary, empower them to achieve their goals. And in turn, your team will help you achieve your goals. It's extremely simple, Jack.
It's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple, right?
It's not easy. It's hard work, but it's simple in words.
Yeah, and it's worthwhile work. Like, what else would we be doing other than helping our team help other people, right? It's a joy.
Exactly.
Mate, that is phenomenal. Like I said, you and your team are doing some great things. So if people wanted to check out your clinic or your team, how can they do that? And also if they wanted to maybe get in touch with you personally to learn more about your story, how could they do that?
Sure. So on the internet, we are at completecarephysio.com.au. We're also on Facebook and on Instagram at Complete Care Physio. Me personally, if you would like to reach out with me, maybe learn everything moustache and beard wise, happy to help in that department as well. My Instagram is at the.bearded.physio.
And to be fair, I think we need a CM award for the most resplendent beard. And though I held that title for a while, you have gazumped me. It is phenomenal.
It's hard work, mate. It's hard work. It's long time. Oh, very, very, very.
I love it. You're an absolute legend. Really appreciate your insights. And listeners, we will make sure we link up those social profiles, those websites, email addresses, so that you can follow along, get in touch. And it's a phenomenal journey. And I would challenge you, listeners, to see for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Don't take this podcast word for it. Check out what Hasan and his team have built and are building, and you'll be blown away. Thank you for joining us on the podcast, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Listeners, thank you for joining us. As always, clinicmastery.com/podcast, or around wherever you're listening to this episode, you'll find all of those links. If you've enjoyed this, let us know. Jump in the reviews, ratings. We'd absolutely love to hear from you. Got any suggestions for future clinic owner spotlights, please do reach out. And thank you again for listening. Can't wait to bring you another episode of the podcast again really soon. Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to the Grow Your Clinic podcast. To find out more about past episodes or how we can help you, head to www.clinicmastery.com/podcast. And please remember to rate and review us on your podcast player of choice. See you on the next episode.